Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has praised the advances made by his troops on the eastern front line. He said that Ukrainian troops had covered hundreds of kilometers in the counteroffensive. Zelensky also met troops at an undisclosed location in the Zaporizhia region. Russian President Vladimir Putin addressed his nation on Tuesday. He said that he allowed Wagner troops to mutiny to avoid Russian bloodshed. Putin also thanked Wagner soldiers who stood down orders to attack Russian forces. Putin added that he would promise to help Wagner troops relocate to Belarus or enlist in the Russian army. Meanwhile, Wagner chief Yevgeny Prigozhin said that he did not want to overthrow Putin. He said that Wagner groups rebelled to avoid the destruction of the group by Russia's defense ministry. Prigozhin added that he was now moving to Belarus. US President Joe Biden has said that his country and its allies were not involved in the uprising against Putin. He said, and I quote, "We had nothing to do with this." Biden also said that the White House was monitoring the situation in Russia on an hour-by-hour basis. Meanwhile, Biden spoke to Zelensky on the phone after the Wagner mutiny.
The situation began to develop.
A Russian diplomat squatting on land set aside for a new Russian embassy in Australia has shifted. He is now put up in a temporary building near the proposed site. Last week, Australia passed a law that prevents Russia from shifting its embassy in Canberra to the new site. This is because the new site is close to the Australian Parliament. NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg has said that Sweden and Turkey will meet before the upcoming NATO summit in July. He added that this was to fast-track Sweden's accession to NATO. Meanwhile, Turkey's President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has said that he would block Sweden's entry into NATO. Meanwhile, Belarusian President Alexander Lukashenko made his first speech after the Wagner mutiny. The Belarusian president talked about the threats of NATO's provocations and expansion. He also claimed that NATO's expansion would lead to hostility at the Belarusian border. This comes a week after Lukashenko received the delivery of Russian nukes which will be staged in Belarus. Serbia has released 3 Kosovo policemen. The Kosovo police officials were in Serbian detention for more than a week. They were detained in the border areas and were accused of illegally crossing into Serbia. The release comes after Kosovo and Serbian officials met with EU officials. The World Economic Forum's summer Davos has officially begun in China's Xinjiang. Chinese Premier Li Qiang addressed the opening of the forum. He called for openness and cooperation among countries. WEF's executive chairman, Klaus Schwab, also delivered a speech at the opening ceremony. Meanwhile, New Zealand's Prime Minister Chris Hipkins also spoke at a session at the summer Davos. Hipkins highlighted his country's trade agreements with China. He also said that New Zealand and China were working together to solve challenges involving climate change. Hipkins also met Chinese President Xi Jinping today.
Some of it, I think, is driven by the challenges that we all face as a planet.
Brazil and Argentina's presidents met in Brazil's capital Brasilia on Monday. They marked 200 years of diplomatic relations between the two countries. Brazil's President Lula da Silva also awarded his Argentine counterpart Brazil's highest distinction. The military in Honduras has taken over the country's prisons starting Monday. This is after a riot in the Tamara prison led to the death of over 46 inmates in a women's detention center last week. After taking over, military officials confiscated pistols, machine guns, and even grenades from some of the Honduras' prisons. The Colombian president awarded 86 medals to indigenous and military rescuers. The rescuers were awarded for finding 4 children who were lost after surviving a plane crash in the Amazon jungle. The plane crash happened in May. The children were rescued after more than a month. One military dog which went missing during the operation was also awarded a medal. Hundreds of anti-government protesters clashed with police officials in Israel on Tuesday. The protesters banged drums and set a tire on fire. Police officers detained at least 6 demonstrators. The protesters were rallying against Prime Minister Netanyahu's proposed judicial overhaul. Israel's anti-judicial overhaul protests have been going on since March. A rail bridge in the US state of Montana collapsed into the Yellowstone River. Rail cars carrying sulfur and other hazardous material plunged into the river. No injuries were reported. The bridge collapse has led to the closure of parts of the Yellowstone River. Officials are also testing the river waters for possible contamination. Moving to climate, smoke from wildfires in Canada continues to remain in Montreal City. Several public events were cancelled due to the air pollution. Local authorities have closed down all sporting facilities, including swimming pools. On Monday, Montreal recorded the worst air quality index in the world. At least 13 people have been killed in rain-related accidents in Pakistan's Punjab province. Over 17 others have been injured as floodwaters submerged streets. Pakistan's weather agency has predicted more thunder showers till the 30th of June. Pakistan's monsoon season is yet to begin. The country is expected to see its monsoon starting from July till September. Heavy rainfall has caused flooding in parts of central China. Over 7 people have gone missing due to flood-induced landslides. At least 900 people have been evacuated from the flooded regions. Rescue operations are currently underway. Floodwaters have submerged hundreds of rice fields. Intense rainfall caused flash floods in Germany's capital Berlin. Cyclists and pedestrians were stranded on the streets in knee-deep water. The German Weather Service has issued bad weather advisory for the next 48 hours. They have issued a warning for hailstorms. At least 3 people were killed after tornadoes ripped through central parts of the US. Dozens of homes were damaged in the states of Indiana and Arkansas. About 500,000 people faced power outages in the south and midwest regions of the US. On to business now. US-based Lordstown Motors has filed for bankruptcy. It has also simultaneously sued Taiwan-based Foxconn. This is after it failed to resolve a dispute over a promised investment from the Taiwanese company. Lordstown accused Foxconn of failing to abide by an agreement to invest up to $170 million in the automaker. However, Foxconn says that the agreement was already breached when Lordstown's stock fell below $1 per share. American electric vehicle maker Lucid Group has agreed to give UK's Aston Martin access to its battery technology. This is in exchange for a 3.7% stake in the British luxury sports car maker. Aston Martin plans to launch its first electric vehicle in 2025. Europe's biggest fashion retailer, Zalando, has sued the European Commission. This is over its categorization as a very large online platform, or VLOP, under the EU's online content rules. According to the rules, companies categorized as VLOPs may face increased scrutiny by regulators. Other companies labeled as VLOPs include subsidiaries of Google, Microsoft, and Meta platforms. Financial giant KPMG is laying off 5% of its US employees. The firm has said this because of a weak economy coupled with historically low attrition rate. The latest round of job cuts would take place through the rest of this year. In just February, the company had cut about 2% of its American workforce. Trading platform Robinhood is laying off 150 employees. This is about 7% of its full-time staff. The latest round of layoffs is the third for the company in roughly a year. This is despite posting better than expected revenue in its most recent quarterly results. Biotech firm Illumina has commenced job cuts. It will lay off 10% of its research and development team. The company has said that it will further cut its workforce in the third quarter of the year. It will also reduce its real estate footprint in California. This is to reduce its annual expenses by more than $100 million this year. Pakistan's central bank has raised its benchmark interest rate by 100 basis points. This was during an emergency meeting on Monday. The latest hike has raised the interest rate to 22%. The move came just a day after the country revised its budget. On Sunday, Pakistan's parliament approved a $50 billion budget for the year 2023-2024. US President Joe Biden has unveiled a plan to create universal access to high-speed broadband internet. This is across the nation's 50 states and territories. He will spend $42 billion on the project in the next 7 years.
especially when it's vast and geographically diverse as well.
Masahiko Inami, a professor at the University of Tokyo, and his team have created a robotic wearable. It is a multi-arm device called Jizai arms. These are made up of a wearable base unit with sockets to attach up to 6 robotic arms. Inami believes it can be used in various areas such as search and rescue missions. It can also be used as a tool for artistic expression. Technology firm Nvidia has partnered with US-based cloud data analytics company Snowflake. Snowflake allows customers to store and analyze data using cloud-based hardware and software. The deal will allow its customers ranging from financial institutions to healthcare and retail to build AI models using their own data. Moving to sports, in cricket, the International Cricket Council or the ICC has announced the schedule for the upcoming World Cup. The inaugural match will be played between England and New Zealand on the 5th of October in India's Ahmedabad. The much anticipated India vs Pakistan match will also be played in Ahmedabad on 15th of October. A total of 10 teams will participate in the World Cup. 8 teams have already qualified and the remaining 2 will be determined in the ongoing qualifier tournament in Zimbabwe. Mumbai's Wankhede Stadium and Kolkata's Eden Gardens are the most likely choice to host the Cricket World Cup semi-finals. This could mean that Chennai's M.A. Chidambaram Stadium could lose out on hosting the coveted event. Chennai's drop could be due to its unpredictable rainy weather in November. If India qualifies to the semi-finals, they will compete in Mumbai's Wankhede. In a nail-biting encounter, the Netherlands outplayed West Indies to win a super over thriller. Both the sides tied at 374 runs. Thereafter, Dutch player Logan van Beek smashed 30 runs in the super over to steer clear the Netherlands. Van Beek also displayed heroics with the ball, conceding just 8 runs with 2 dismissals in the super over. The match was a part of the ongoing Cricket World Cup qualifiers. In football, Messi's Inter Miami debut is creating anticipation amongst fans. The Argentine icon will play his first game on 21st July against Cruz Azul in the League's Cup. The ticket sales have skyrocketed to watch the 7-time Ballon d'Or winner. Messi spent the past 2 years with French club PSG. Ahead of his arrival, Inter Miami is increasing capacity at the DRV PNK Stadium by roughly 3,000 seats. This will raise the stadium's capacity to around 22,000 now. Real Madrid's veteran midfielder Luka Modric has renewed his contract with the club until June 2024. The 37-year-old chose to stay at Madrid despite significant interest from Saudi Arabia. He has played 488 games and won 23 trophies for Real Madrid. Modric finished second with Croatia in the Nations League and has not announced about his retirement from international football as rumoured. Manchester City has made a formal bid for West Ham United's Declan Rice for over $114 million. Arsenal is also on the chase to acquire Rice after revising their offer several times. The club's previous bid of over $100 million was rejected. Manchester City wants the England midfielder to replace Ilkay Gundogan. Gundogan had completed his move to Barcelona on Monday. In tennis, world number 1, Iga Swiatek won her first game or rather grass court match of the season in the German town of Hamburg. Eyeing on the Wimbledon next month, she beat Tatiana Maria 5-7, 6-2 and 6-0. Now, she will play Switzerland's Jill Teichmann in the second round. This is her 8th consecutive win and a tour leading 36th of the season. World number 3, Elena Rybakina, or rather Ibukana, has pulled out of a warm-up event in the English town of Eastbourne. She said that her withdrawal owes to recovery from a virus. Ibukina won the Wimbledon last year and has ever since risen in the world rankings. Wimbledon begins on July 3 this year. In Kabaddi, India beat Chinese Taipei after thrashing South Korea at the Asian Kabaddi Championship. India defeated Chinese Taipei 53-19 in its second match today. Earlier, India dominated South Korea 76-13. India will next face Japan on the 28th of June. The championship is being held at the South Korean city of Busan. Moving to athletics, Olympic gold medalist Neeraj Chopra will lead the Indian contingent at the World Athletics Championships 2023. The tournament will be held in Budapest from 19th to 27th August this year. The top-ranked javelin thrower qualified for the tournament last year in the Lausanne Diamond League. In entertainment, the 15th Dorian Awards have announced its list of winners. Drama shows Succession and Abbott Elementary have won the top drama and comedy honours. The best LGBTQ TV show award was won by comedy series The Other Two. The Dorian Awards are organised by the Society of LGBTQ Entertainment Critics. The Edinburgh International Film Festival has set its closing night film. British-Iranian filmmaker Babak Jalali's film Fremont will close the festival. This will also mark the UK premiere of the film. The film festival will take place from the 18th to the 23rd of August. The Recording Industry Association of Japan has given platinum certification in the streaming category to two K-pop bands. The all-girl groups Desfram and New Jeans have been given the certification based on the number of plays on their songs. Their songs Anti-Fragile and Ditto have clocked in 100 million plays each. Korean actor Tae-won is set to make his television comeback after 7 years. He has joined the cast of crime series I Kill You. The 49-year-old actor's career took a hit in 2016 when he was accused of sexual assault. However, he was cleared of the charges. Korean drama series The First Responders has set the premiere date for its second season. It will launch on the 4th of August. The First Responders stars Kim Rae-won and Son Hoon-jun. The actors will reprise their roles from the first season. James Cameron's 1997 Oscar-winning film Titanic is returning to streaming platform Netflix. The film will be available from the 1st of July in the US and Canada. The announcement has drawn criticism in light of the Titan submersible tragedy that claimed 5 lives. Many on social media have called Netflix insensitive. Actors Harrison Ford and Phoebe Waller-Bridge have spoken out in support of the Writers Guild of America strike. The two spoke at the London premiere of their film Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. Ford said that he would walk out if contract talks between Hollywood's Actors Union and major studios break. Meanwhile, Waller-Bridge is striking in solidarity with the WGA. Earlier, Ford's show 1923 was delayed indefinitely due to the strike. The 25th Shanghai International Film Festival screened over 450 films over a 10-day run. The festival honored emerging talent from Asian cinema. The Golden Goblet segment recognized talent from established markets like Japan and new ones like Uzbekistan. Two of China's biggest stars, Tu Ji and Da Peng, were jointly awarded the Best Actor prize. The inductees for the Hollywood Walk of Fame's class of 2024 have been announced. In the music category, singer Gwen Stefani, rapper Dr. Dre, and rock band Def Leppard will receive their stars next year. Meanwhile, actors Michelle Yeoh and Chadwick Boseman have been selected in the motion picture category. And finally, late singer Tina Turner will be honored posthumously at Macy's 4th of July parade in New York. A display called the Golden Mile will stretch across the East River to honor the singer. Singers Ashanti and BB Rexa and rapper Ja Rule will perform at the ceremony.